Texas A&M. It's going to be cinema. I can't wait for it. You can't wait for it. I'm so glad we have this rivalry back. This is what we deserve as college football fans, is these two teams playing on the last week of the regular season. It's a glorious thing. If you're all about this life being a college football sicko, make sure you're subscribed. And you know what I mean. I mean watching your favorite pregame show at the wee hours of the morning all the way until Sicko's Hour is finished at 2 a.m. If you're a college football psychopath, make sure you're subscribed because you're just like us. And we're talking college football every single day of the year. Couple of early thoughts on this game. What's going to take to win this game is maybe a better way to phrase this whole discussion. Starting with Texas. Don't look now, but Arch Manning isn't that same dude that walked into the shoe the first week of the college football season. He's grown. He's matured. He looks more comfortable. He looks more confident. He's letting it rip. He's talking his cash. I am all the way here for the Arch Manning Ascension Tour, right? Maybe not Revenge Tour just yet, but Ascension Tour. He's looked solid. Even in the loss to Georgia, had decent numbers, and his numbers could have been better should Texas have done a better job of hanging on to the football, neither here nor there. I think there's an opportunity here for Texas to really challenge this A&M secondary because A&M, by the numbers, is pretty solid on the back end. They're top 25 in most categories that matter. But here's the thing. If you've actually watched the games, and you have and I have, there's a couple of eyebrow-raising moments for A&M really across the board this season. That's not saying they're bad defensively. That's just saying A&M as a secondary has proven they're mortal. Okay? In every SEC game, Texas A&M has allowed at least one pass of 30 yards or more. It's not everything. Again, it hasn't hurt them. Obviously, Texas A&M undefeated, but I just want to make sure that's out there. Knowing Steve Sarkisian with a quarterback that's in rhythm and has some confidence behind him, and the game that Texas just had against Arkansas where they had some success pushing the football downfield, I think that's something to monitor in this game because what if now A&M has a little bit of a slow start like they had against South Carolina? Not down 27 points half slow, but what if it's just a more lackadaisical start? A&M is not going to be able to scratch and claw their way back into the game the way they did against South Carolina, against Texas. Texas, far too talented, far too good offensively, far too composed offensively. It's not going to be a thing Texas A&M can do. So, again, going back to the explosive play potential here, Arch Manning, the way he's spinning it right now, I think that's something to watch here. If they can push the tempo at home against A&M, maybe things get a little extra intriguing in this game. Now, I also think a big factor in this game, the war on the perimeter when Texas has the football, might define the whole game, quite frankly. Texas and what they've done over the course of the last few weeks, going back to the Vandy game most specifically, they've gotten the football out of Arch Manning's hands real quickly. Get it out to Wingo, let him work. Get it out to Moore, let him work. They've done a great job of taking a lot of different things off the offensive line's plate and allowed them to have an easier job up front. Because remember, they're having a lot of trouble against Florida early on in the year, had trouble against, pick your team, quite frankly, against Ohio State early in the year. They've since adapted from those games and put the ball in the perimeter a lot more quickly and made it a thing where, okay, O-line, you don't have to block nearly as long. You don't have to run block nearly as long. We're just going to take the extended handoff to our receivers out there, let them cook, and we'll go about it that way. Now, to do that, you got to be about that life on the perimeter, Texas. You got to be down to block. And if you want to beat that, you got to be down to tackle on the perimeter. So two different position groups in the wide receiver room and the DB room for A&M that are going to be asked to be a little bit grimy, a little bit gritty, a little bit physical. Because if Texas A&M can rally up to the football and make tackles, well, then you're going to be dealing with a lot less ideal second and third downs, going to be dealing with a lot less comfortable positioning for Arch Manning, and maybe, just maybe, then Mike Elko gets to heat you up a little bit. Maybe Cassius Howell gets to rush the passer a little bit. Texas A&M's arguably best defensive player, up there with Torian York, Cassius Howell. You'd like to have him impact the game as much as humanly possible. You only get to do that if you do a good job on the perimeter, rallying up, attacking blocks, and attacking those receivers in that short passing game. Now, here's another thing that's going to impact this game that I'm thinking about right off the bat. Rock meet hard place when it comes to Texas stopping the run and A&M running the football. A&M is a 55% of the time running the football team. Now, Texas, they are number 3 in college football when it comes to yards per carry allowed. Okay, so something's got to give there, right? Something has got to give. looking at Texas and what they just did against Arkansas, I'm really curious to see the kind of approach that A&M employs when it comes to the quarterback run game, because watching that game, Texas struggled mightily when it came to looks where the defense was divided, having to account for the quarterback and the running back, and different downhill runs off of that. Okay, so A&M, if they can get something going on the ground and then have shot plays off of that, it's going to be a long day at the office. Now, it also should be mentioned, if A&M can't set the table running the football, they're not out of it, obviously, by nature of what they did against South Carolina, but I do think that would be a world that A&M would like to live in the sense that if you can run the football, the entire playbook is open to you if you're Texas A&M. Now, in addition to that, the way that A&M's really kind of caused different dams to break over the course of this season is run the football and then Marcel Reed just being special, dude. Just Marcel Reed doing Marcel Reed things. Chance been something that's trending on social media before in A&M circles. There's a reason for that because Marcel Reed's been a freaking dude this year. But here's the thing. When Marcel Reed doesn't have his feet set, bad things happen for A&M. I mean, A&M has had a bunch of different games that ESPN's had broadcasts for, and a bunch of different stats have been flashed up on your screen watching an A&M game that highlights Marcel Reed and his off-target throw numbers. Something like 16% is what it was the most recent game that I saw. Translation, if you can heat Marcel Reed up, you give yourself a chance now as a defense to create some turnovers or at the very least causes A&M offense to stall out a little bit. That's where Colin Simmons comes in. That's where that battle with trying to account for him as an A&M offensive line and Marcel Reed being able to evade pressure and get back to having his feet set to deliver strikes downfield, that battle is going to be huge. Because, again, if Marcel Reed can set his feet, he's one of the best players in college football. If he can't, Texas, again, at home, a little bit of a hate game, a lot of bit of a hate game. The ability to rush the passer, one of the best pass-rushing football teams in the country. Just something to keep an eye on now. Something to keep an eye on. Now, the moment of truth in this game may come down to quick passing game, just what we said for Texas when they have the football, to when A&M has the football. Because we've seen A&M just break people's backs, getting the ball to Concepcion, get the ball to Craver, whether it's underneath, whether it's the screen game, the tunnel screen game, and then once they get in space, it's game over because no one can tackle them. The moment of truth, the matchup of truth, is Texas being able to tackle in space. I don't question Texas and their want to go up and attack blocks and be physical and all those things. They've proven that at this point in the year. I'm curious, can you hang with Mario Craver when it's one-on-one in the alley? Can you take the right angle on KC Concepcion when they get him the ball right away? Because to this point in the year, nobody has definitively been able to pass that test. So Texas, if you can do that now, if you can pass that test, you can be King Arthur and be the one to pull Excalibur out of the stone, well, then you take away, I think, arguably the most impactful element of A&M's offense, which is their ability to take a short gain, turn it into a touchdown. If you can't, if A&M wins that matchup, the avalanche starts. Because everything else can flow from that as well. I mentioned the run game, what that can mean for A&M. Same deal with the short passing game. Playmakers get rolling, screen and go game is available. Defense is a lot more worried about the passing game, and Marcel Reed gets busy on the ground. There's a lot of things that come from that. If you can't tackle in space, and A&M gets to kind of dictate terms to you both tempo-wise and situation-wise, just a bad deal if you're Texas. So I can't wait for this one. I know you're jacked up for this one. Let me know your thoughts and your final score prediction in the comment section. Whether you're an Aggie or a Longhorn, we're going to savor this final weekend of the college football season. I love y'all. Caden Smith, the ones and twos. He also loves y'all. We're going to have a freaking weekend. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.